Hello, I thank you for the invitation today and for letting me speak about trying to address the question, is energy expenditure, I got it here, the key regulator factor of fat metabolism. So why I'm asking this question is because it exists a tight relationship between energy balance and fat balance in both lean and obese people that has been known for quite some time now. If we go further in the components of the energy balance, and especially in total energy expenditure, it has been observed that activity energy expenditure, which is the most variable component of total energy expenditure, is contributing to the regulation of fat mass. In a study in 2005, James Levine had observed a negative relationship between accelerometry counts, which represent our habitual physical activity, and percentage of fat mass in both lean and obese people. He then submitted people to 4 weeks of overfeeding, and he observed that the people who were increasing the most their activity energy expenditure were the ones who were gaining the less fat. And so here we could say, well, exercise can outrun a bad diet. I think the questions are, what are exactly the terms of this exercise or this total energy expenditure that are going to regulate fat metabolism? We can think about an induced energy deficit, or is it about the intensity of exercise or frequency or the duration? We can vary a lot of them. And that's what I would like to go through with you today very briefly. So let's start with, is it exercise per se or exercise-induced energy deficit? And here I'm showing you 2 studies conducted at the University of Colorado. In these 2 studies, people were asked to come twice. One, they were spending 24 hours in a whole room calorimeter in resting-controlled sedentary condition. And the second time, they were asked to perform exercise that was inducing an energy deficit equivalent to 15% of their estimated total energy expenditure. Both times they were performing moderate intensity exercise, and we can very easily see that on the left, all the participants, regardless of their phenotype, if they were lean, obese, or reduced obese, had a significant increase in 24-hour fat oxidation, while we were not observing such an impact on the study, in the study on the right side. So what was the difference between these 2 studies? Well, on the left, we didn't replace the calories that were expended during the exercise, while we did during the study on the right side. So in other words, to increase 24-hour fat oxidation, don't replace calories expended during exercise. That's one of the parameters. The other one is, what about intensity? We know that we burn more fat during exercise when intensity is lower than higher. So then we address this question in another study in 16 young lean participants under stable energy balance, and we asked them to either perform a light intensity exercise or high intensity exercise, and we can very easily see that there was no impact on 24-hour fat oxidation here. Another parameter is the frequency or the duration of exercise bouts. And I'm putting them together because it's very difficult to distinguish each of them. This is a study I'm currently conducting at the University of Colorado. It's a randomized crossover study, 3 conditions with 3 to 4 weeks washout period. So far we have completed 6 males, 9 females, overweight sedentary adults. Each condition consists of 4 days of intervention, 3 days in free living, followed by 24 hours in a whole room calorimeter. On the first condition, we're just asking them to stay sedentary. It's a normal, habitual routine. Second condition, we're asking them to perform 45 minutes of moderate intensity exercise in the morning as one bout. And the third condition, we're asking them now to take these 45 minutes, but to break them down in 9 bouts of 5 minutes for 9 hours consecutive, and doing them every hour. On the 4 days they come over, we study them in the whole room calorimeter, we control for the diet, and we don't replace expended calories. So as expected, energy intake was the same between the 3 conditions. Every time you will see sedentary condition in white bar, the 1 bout in black bar, and the micro bouts in the strip bars. As expected again, the physical activity conditions are increasing total energy expenditure and inducing a negative energy balance. What was not expected, though, was the fact that at same energy expenditure, we observed a differential impact on fat metabolism. So let's start with the one bout. We can see that there was a trend for shift towards using fat. No, sorry, I don't have a pointer. So there was a trend for using more fat over carbohydrate. If we look at the 24-hour non-protein respiratory quotient, associated with a significant increase in both total and dietary fat oxidation. However, with the microbouts, there was no change on the non-protein respiratory quotient or the total fat oxidation, and even a decrease in dietary fat oxidation. Based on the first observation I showed you, I wanted to explore the relationship between total energy expenditure and fat oxidation. As expected, we had a strong positive relationship between the changes in total energy expenditure and both total and dietary fat oxidation when the exercise was performed as a one and long continuous bout. However, absolutely no relationship existed when we were looking at the day with these microbouts. I then wanted to look at the relationship between fat oxidation and carbohydrate oxidation. And once again, we had an expected strong negative relationship between total fat and total carbohydrate oxidation, but nothing when the exercise was fragmented. And this reminded me of the old flat double compartment model that he proposed 20 years ago. I think you're all familiar with this model, but briefly, the idea is that nutrient oxidation is regulated by the capacity for nutrient storage in the body. So if you increase your carbohydrate intake, spontaneously you will have an increase in your carbohydrate oxidation because the carbohydrate storage capacity, which is glycogen in both liver and muscle, is very small. However, if you increase fat intake, because of the very large capacity of the body to store fat, there will not be a consequent increase in fat oxidation. In this model, Flat was proposing that when you impose exercise, you will have a depletion in glycogen store that will tend to use the lipid storage, and so it will increase fat oxidation. And this is what I think we see with our one bout. We have a depletion in glycogen storage that is not happening when we have the microbouts of activity. This being said, I would like to cover very briefly the chronic effect of training here and show you some of these results, very recent results in lean and overweight sedentary men that were submitted to a 1 month training according to the current guidelines. So it was 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per day, 5 days a week, and we maintained the people in stable energy balance, so there was no change in body or fat mass. We can see by using doubly labeled water method that the training induced an increase in both total and activity energy expenditure in the lean people, but no increase in the obese people. And this had no relationship with compliance. It was only a supervised exercise. But what I would like to show you is the fact that even when we have no increase in total or activity energy expenditure, exercise training increases fasting, which is on the left, fasting postprandial, total fat oxidation, and 24-hour dietary fat oxidation in both the lean and the overweight people. So what are the potential mechanisms? Well, in the lean people, we observed a very strong relationship down on the left between the 24-hour dietary fat oxidation and the activity energy expenditure. That was observed through a coordinated changes in plasma trafficking and muscle handling. This being said, that we had the same relationship with the regulation, gene regulation, protein regulation of the key proteins involved in the fat metabolism. Furthermore, we observed a very strong negative relationship between the changes in insulin secretion and dietary fat oxidation, suggesting that maybe, even in absence of a change or an increase in total energy expenditure, we have an impact on insulin sensitivity that could play a role on fat metabolism. So what is the take-home message? Well, in short-term conditions, to burn more fat with exercise, do not replace calories. Total energy expenditure is a key regulator of fat metabolism, but likely only if it impacts carbohydrate oxidation and or deplete glycogen storage. However, training increases fat oxidation even when total energy expenditure or energy balance are unchanged. This is likely because of training effect on the molecular and cellular regulators of fat metabolism, and it may also be related to changes in insulin sensitivity. I would like to thank all my collaborators and people who contributed to this work, and thank you for your attention.